Connersville High School's natatorium, the scene of a co-ed swimming meet between the Spartans and the Bulldogs from Centerville. It's the TV3 Game of the Week. Welcome to Connersville High School's natatorium and tonight's co-ed swim meet between the Spartans and the Centerville Bulldogs. Hi everybody, this is Fran Schoma welcoming you to the TV3 telecast. It's a special night as these two teams battle for a win. Special because these teams hold their annual event to battle cancer. It's called Pink Out event, and it is the third year for this meet to raise funds for cancer research. This year's goal is $4,000, and we're pretty sure these young men and women have been working hard to reach that goal by selling t-shirts and doing other money-raising events. We're happy to join us here on the diving portion of tonight's meet by Darren Reitenauer. He's the head swim coach at Centerville High School. Welcome, Darren.
Welcome.
Okay, you're a former coach here at CHS.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in this pool.
Well, I know we're in for quite a good evening here. I think both these teams are undefeated, aren't they?
I believe the Connersville boys lost to Richmond on Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
But they're still strong. That was a good meet, I believe, and this should be a pretty competitive meet.
This is quite an event, isn't it? For this cancer research.
It is. It's just grown every year. This is the third year we've done it, and it's just a lot of fun. It adds a lot of excitement to the event. It's already going to be exciting because of all the close races we're going to have, but then adding the cancer element and helping raise funds for that.
Yes.
We're very excited about that.
Well, at the meet at Centerville last year, the Bulldogs won both, so I know the Spartans would like to kind of even the match here tonight.
Well, and they're going to give us everything we can do. It's going to be tough. They've really got a good team, both girls and boys this year. So it's going to be tough for us to defend that.
We'll be having actually 24 events here tonight, 12 boys and 12 girls. The first one will be getting underway after the diving competition, and that'll be the girls' 200-yard medley, and then our evening will be ending with the boys' 400-yard freestyle relay sometime from now. So it should be an exciting evening.
It's going to be very exciting. There's going to be a lot of close races. We have some excellent divers here. You know, there's a couple divers here that really have a chance to make it to regional and state.
Good.
So we're going to see some good stuff here.
Well, you mentioned you're the head coach at Centerville. Who is your diving coach?
Brad Whited.
Has he been with you very long?
Yeah, he's been actually Centerville a long time, and he's also coached at Richmond. And,
oh, good deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
Okay, we want you to tell us about these divers here as they are getting ready to begin this competition.
Okay. You know, they start out usually with a dive to get them kind of going. I think we have the JV going here first.
Oh, okay.
And I believe they're going to have two dives, and then they'll go out, and then the rest of the divers will have 4 more after those.
Okay, we saw the 3 judges, a couple of 3s and a 2. What's the highest they can go?
They can give a 10.
Oh, okay.
It has to be really exceptional to do that. You don't see that very often, although I believe Ike Camus from Richmond on Tuesday had a few 10s.
Oh, gee, that's great.
Yeah, he's a defending state champion.
Oh, they must have quite a team at Richmond.
Okay. Yes,
was that a good?
That's a good dive. We should 4.5. So that's a pretty decent dive. It's a little short. Wanted to get up a little bit higher on that, but nice job.
Okay. How many youngsters do you have on your team?
We have 26 girls and 16 boys.
Okay. And do they all participate in both the diving and swimming?
No, we've got a few that do both.
I see.
But we have some that don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a nice dive. Now that'll count out because of how far she went out, but you can tell by her face that she's very happy with that. It was a pretty well executed dive.
About what I know about diving is what kind of a splash do they make?
Yeah, that is an important part of it. Yeah.
Is your pool comparable to the one here at Connersville?
Yeah, they're pretty similar.
Are they?
Yeah.
Both 6 lane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the consecration part, right, where they...
Yeah, they're usually visualizing their dive right here, and then that's when they start, and then execute it. Now that was a nice dive there, really well executed. It's just once again a little more height would help, but
had a 5 and a couple of 4.5s from the 3 judges.
Yep.
So.
Yep, nice tuck there. Had maybe in a little bit more, but that's
I
really
would
nice.
think she should have a 6 or 7. Of course, I'm not a judge.
Well, we'll see here in a few minutes when we get to a couple of these other divers.
Sure.
Okay, good height on that one, but she was out a little bit, and a little twist there at the end. I know Phoebe is our diver, and this is her first year, so she's really improving quickly.
All these girls in blue are Centerville.
Yes.
Lady Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Real nice tuck on that one.
Mm-hmm. She got a 5 and a couple of 4s.
Yeah. Yep, we're all in the same range here, but we'll see as we go here.
I know here at Connersville, these kids swim early in the morning before school begins. Did you do that at Centerville?
We do. We do we do dry land usually in the morning. Sometimes we'll get in the pool, but yeah, it's pretty standard on.
Is it?
Swimming and diving teams. It is a very intensive sport. You'll see as when they get done with their event, they're pretty winded. It takes a lot of endurance.
Yes.
Okay. Not bad. Nice tight tuck. Good finish in. She was just a little low and a little far out.
Are these mostly 9th graders there?
Well, there are several 9th graders. I know that I know Emily there that just dove. She is a freshman, I believe.
Okay.
So now I may be biased here. This is my daughter.
Well, oh really? Well, great.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a pretty nice dive.
Yes. Nice.
She got some 5s on that.
Round of applause from the crowd here, and a 6.5 and a couple of 5s. That's great.
Not bad. Went over. She could be a little straighter coming in, but not too bad. Brianna here has really improved greatly. It's to see where they start at, and when as they progress, it's really fun.
Yes.
So that's really good takeoff on that one. It was up close to the board. Her tuck isn't real tight, and she over-rotated a little bit on this. But I tell you what, that. When we're coaching diving, we're looking for that takeoff. That's the start of the whole thing to have a good dive, and she did that. So,
a couple of 4s and a 5.
So our next diver up here was a regional qualifier last year.
Oh, excellent.
So she actually had to overcome an injury. She had a little bit of an injury over Christmas break, and had to recover from that, and she worked really hard to do that, and then ended up making it to, to regional. So,
Well, what conference are you in at Centerville?
we're in the TEC, but the TEC only has 2 with swim teams, so we don't hold a conference for
I
our
see.
swimming.
Very nice.
Yes,
Oh,
that's a nice
that's
dive right
good.
there. You saw the lines there,
Yes.
pretty straight. She's out a
Yes.
little bit, and the height was pretty good. There's a little split in the.
Yeah, two
the-
sixes and a 7.
Yeah,
So, I can understand why she did so well last year.
Yeah, yeah. She's a hard worker.
That's what it takes, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that that participate in these that work really hard, and so you have to match that intensity.
Yes.
Okay. Boys diving starting here.
Okay.
And that wasn't too bad. This tuck needs to be a little tighter. A little bit more up off the board, but not bad. All the way around.
Yes.
That's what you got to do on that reverse dive, reverse somersault. Cameron is a freshman.
Okay. See how he does with the 9th grader.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Oh,
Finished that good.
that's impressed.
That's one of the best entries I've seen him do. So
Yeah.
scores reflect that with some 6s
Yeah,
there.
Judges are happy with it. A couple of
Yeah.
6s and a 5.5.
Yeah, and we usually consider once you get in the 6s, we're kind of impressed with what you're
Sure,
doing.
I would think so.
So well, that's a pretty dive.
Yes. Very good.
Quentin is an excellent diver. He has put a lot of work into this, 7.5s. Yep. And there you can see his height and his distance from the board was pretty
Yes.
close and fairly
What gr-
straight
what-
going in.
What grade is he in?
He is a freshman.
You.
Yeah.
Very good.
He is going to do some really amazing things.
I would
for
think
Connersville.
so, from what we've seen here tonight.
Oh yeah. And we saw 2 back-to-back there that were pretty
Yeah,
good. A little
very
more
good.
height on his, but he wasn't quite as straight coming in. So they
It's a
I
neat
guess
and a half.
they like that height
Yes.
in there.
Yes.
So
Yes. There's a degree of difficulty. Can you explain that?
sure, absolutely. You know, the diving committees have kind of judged all the dives previously there's a standard
Okay.
of what basically you multiply the score by. So a more difficult dive is going to have a higher degree of difficulty.
Okay.
So you're, like a forward dive, back dive, those are in the 1.4 to 1.6 range.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're multiplying their final score with. So those 3 judges, they'll add those scores together and then multiply it times the degree of difficulty.
I see. Interesting.
So you'll see some of these guys do some higher degree of difficulty, and so they'll get it like maybe 2.2, and 2.4. So that's a lot of multiplying.
Yes.
So they like to have those big dives to score big points.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. And the young lady.
Yeah, this is a very nice setup. She's very straight. Their head is in good position. Arms straight out to her side. Very good starting position. And that's a tough one when you come back in towards the board, your head.
Yes.
It's a tough dive to get, and she's working on that. She just needs to get her feet up a little bit on that, and she'll be fine. The throw in there is good, just not lifting those feet.
3, 2, and a 3 by the judges. So
Yeah, and that's basically on that entry. It's kind of like you said, the splash. She wasn't real narrow going in, and so the judges will count off a lot for that.
yes.
And that's a very nice entry.
Yes.
Our diving coach, we call that a rip, which means she went straight through, and there was a little popping sound there while she went in.
Okay.
So he likes to score those. Yeah, that entry was about picture perfect.
Yeah, she did well. A couple of
Yeah.
5s and a 5.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Judging diving is kind of hard because it doesn't take very long to perform a dive, and you got to
right.
see a lot of things going on. It takes some training of watching it a lot to see everything. Okay, not bad there. Okay, up and overs. So that's anytime they're going up off the board is a good thing when they first learn. A lot of times they're doing like fall ins where they'll just fall into, because we would call that a blind entry, which means that they can't really see where they're going, which makes them nervous, understandably. And so they've got to learn the timing of that dive, and it takes a lot of practice to refine a dive and get it good. So even though they don't last very long, they do require a lot of practice.
I would think so.
Yeah, that was a nice dive.
Very, very nice.
Good entry, good tuck. Not quite as high as we'd like, but lots of good stuff going on there.
2 5s and a 3.5.
Okay. Well, the official saw something that the other two didn't see there.
Yes.
I don't know what he saw, but I probably would have given that a 5.
Well, that gentleman's been around quite a bit.
He has.
Isn't he? Yes. Every event we attend here at Connersville,
Sure.
he's here, and
He is Richard Four. He's an excellent official.
oh yes, I think so.
Yep.
Very
That's
nice.
a nice dive by Phoebe.
Yes.
Little straighter at the end. It might not. Sometimes when they don't get straight as they go in,
Yes.
they count off. But
Yes.
that's a nice tuck. Yeah.
She's got a 4 and a couple of 3.5s. So.
So as a freshman, just starting, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a nice dive. The approach was excellent. Really good on the approach. Just cutting that off a little bit short, not getting all the way up. And a little bit out of shape coming in.
Yes.
But not bad.
She had a 4 and a couple of 3.5s. So. How many dives do they each one make, Darren?
They'll go through 6. The varsity will go through 6 dives.
Okay.
Oh, coming in a little early on that one, but
Good.
the height was
Yes.
good. The tuck
Good
was
height.
good.
Yes.
Just didn't land the entry on that one.
4.5
Yep.
and a couple
That's
of 4s.
a really nice tuck, but just mistimed the
Yeah, she
finish there.
looked good until she hit
Yeah,
the water, right?
yeah, that's right. That's right. Nice takeoff. She actually spun that a little too well and got going a little too far. But this tuck is nice. Yep, she just got going a little too much. Didn't quite control the landing.
So she'd held her arms up when she entered the water. I
when
know
you
she didn't.
when you have a feet first entry, you want your arms to be down.
Oh, okay.
She had lost control a little bit there, so she raised them to try to balance. So they do count off for that. There's a nice double
good,
right there.
yeah.
That's the landing we were looking for.
That's right.
Yep, and she's rewarded for it. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, the crowd that shows her appreciation.
Yeah.
A 7 and a 6 and a 6.5. That's great.
Yep. And then anytime they go in head first, their hands, of course, should be over their head on the entry. Okay, not bad. We would call this like a rainbow dive because it's shaped a little bit like a rainbow. And while the body position is pretty good there, we want it to go a little bit more up and down rather than rainbow shape. Here's one of those 2.2 degree of difficulty dives. So his score will be multiplied pretty good. Nice position setting up. And pretty good tuck. Not bad on the takeoff. He just he turned away from the board a little bit, and they'll count off for that. He's still learning this dive, so there's a little twist there. But not bad. Really working hard to go straight at the end. So
easier said than done.
I tell you. And I think sometimes it's deceptive how much strength you have to be a diver.
Well, this young man did great the last time. Let's see what he is now.
Yep, this looks good. Oh, over-rotated a little bit, but boy, that's a pretty dive. He's just got to find the ending there. But this is a really nice approach. And coming up, throwing it a little early, a little wide on the tuck. But not bad. Good takeoff, good finish. That should score fairly well.
Good entry, I thought.
Yeah, that's a nice dive.
Might be a 7 and 7 and a 6.
Not bad.
Judges kind of like that one.
Yep. He could wait on that board a little bit to get a little more height, get those legs up a little earlier, but that's a pretty nice dive. I think we've moved into just the varsity divers now.
Okay.
So the JV have finished their portion. Man, that's a nice entry on that one.
Yes.
Pretty good tuck.
Yes.
Not a lot of height, but boy, she made up for it in all the other ways.
2 5s and a 4.5.
Yeah. This is a nice tuck. Coming out, getting the arms to the side. Very nice.
Who are some of the schools you swim against in addition here to Connersville?
We will swim Richmond right after the beginning of the year. We have swum Eastern Hancock and Batesville.
Good.
We also have Newcastle, Milan. Okay, that's a great takeoff. Just over-rotated a little bit coming in, but the takeoff and the tuck are really good.
5, 4.5. It's 5.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yep, just lost it a little bit coming
Yes.
over.
Mm-hmm.
Emily here, I know she's used to the pool. She's come up in the cast program as a swimmer,
Okay.
and she's decided to do some diving, and she is picking it up pretty quick. So not bad. Didn't get much height, but good tuck, good straight entry.
4.5 and 4. And one guy says 3. So.
Okay,
Oh,
it's a
very
pretty
nice.
dive.
Yes.
I'd say she could get a little bit more height on that, but good form there, pretty straight.
A couple of 7s and a
Good.
6.5.
Good straight entry there, not bad.
No, not at all. The fans here tonight show their appreciation.
Yep, that is a nice takeoff. Nice tuck.
Yes.
She's out a little ways, but up and down there. Yep, that is not bad. Just a little bit more up on that.
Got a 5, a 4.5, and a 3.5. So.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes those judges get a little picky. Nice takeoff
Oh,
there.
I think so.
Back
Yes.
1.5. Now our feet came apart there at the end. The judges don't like that, but boy, is that a pretty dive. And I happen to know that she's just learning that one. And so I'm pretty impressed with that.
2 5.5s and
Yeah.
1 5. So.
Yeah. When you're learning new dives, you can't beat those scores. And not bad. Pretty good height on that one. A little bit like a rainbow again, but pretty straight. Just didn't get the legs all the way up there. Not bad.
4, 3, 3.5 on that one.
Cameron's pretty good here. He's got some difficult dives here that give him a high degree of difficulty. So as a freshman, he's challenged himself pretty well. And back 1.5 there. That's one he's learning.
Yes.
Too. So not bad. That's a tough one. That's one of those blind entries.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't see where he's going to land at.
2
Yeah.
4s, a 3.5. So.
Yeah. Okay, I think I saw him do this at warm up. So Quentin, I think this should be a pretty good dive here. Oh, he's a little short on that. Didn't get his feet all the way up and down, but boy, that takeoff is good.
Yes.
Straight lines there.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't quite get his feet all the way up. Yeah, that's one of the things. Sometimes you hit a dive and warm up and you think, boy, I'm going to score big on that. And then when you go into the meet, you just miss it by a little bit. there's a back 1.5.
Oh, very
nice
good.
entry
Yes.
on that one. Holy cow.
Very
Yep,
good.
very nice. And Mr. Ford didn't think that one deserved the higher score, but I did. But that's one of the things. That's why you have 3 judges, is to give some balance. It's like I said, it's tough to judge diving. Some of it is a little subjective because they're happening so quick, and the different judges sometimes look for different
Yes.
things when they judge.
Well, they gave 5s on that one, so that
Yeah.
was good.
Yep, nice. And boy, she goes in the water really smooth.
Yes.
Yep. She's pretty short on that. The tuck's not real tight. Overthrew it just a little bit, so that's why they're counting off on it, but there's a lot to go on there. Good stuff. Okay, that's one she's learning, and that's a back dive half twist. She's just getting that a little early.
Right, and took a couple of 3s and a 3.5.
Yep.
I noticed her legs weren't together.
Yep,
when
that's a
when she
big
entered.
penalty right there. Yep,
Yes.
yep, and that's one she's learning. So
Sure.
yep, not bad. Sometimes when you first start doing that inward, you can over-rotate it because you're really trying to get that head down. And the
Yes.
feet, you can see the feet come over there. But that's something that the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, the more you can line that one up. So that's just about getting the practice time
Yeah,
in.
she received a 5 and 2 4.5. so
Yep, not bad at all.
No.
Okay. Not sure what happened there, but she looked like maybe she got a little too far out on the end of that board and to the side. Yeah, she was way on the side of that
Yes.
board. And so she had to save that because she almost came off the
Yes.
board on the approach.
Down in the 1 area on
Yeah.
that one, so I'm sure she wished she had that one back.
I'm sure she did. Yeah, it's sometimes you get ahead of yourself and you if you just don't hit it just right. But actually, we would call that a save, meaning that she got scored on it. And so sometimes that's hard to do. That one especially, that twist dive is a tough one, and she
Yes.
was able to save it. Didn't get much points on it, but some is better than none. Nice.
Yes, she left the board real well.
Yeah,
I'm
good
impressed
straight.
the way these youngsters get away from the board because if you hit it, I would think that would be.
Well, I tell you, the diving coaches are really good. They really get the preparation, and they make sure they're safe first, and they do a really good job with that.
Yes.
So that sure helps on these. Okay. Jolie, make a clarification on her score there, or on her dive. And came over a little bit on that one.
Just a little. but
Yep, that's another one. She did pretty well in practice, but this one just a little too far over.
7 6 on a 5.5.
Okay, still got good scores.
Yeah, the judges sort of like that one.
Yep, the takeoff was really good. Pike,
Yes.
nice and tight. So those are going to score good for her. once again, inward dive, not bad.
No.
I'm really impressed. That, like I said, doing the inward dive is in the end, it takes a lot of guts to do that because you're going right back towards the board there. And,
yes.
Yes. But they're all doing a great job on that. So
got a couple of 4s and a 4.5. So that was all right.
Yeah. Twist dive that performed pretty well.
Yes.
He was out a little ways, but pretty straight through that. A little bend there, but
it's got a 4, 5, and a 6.
Yeah.
So
we're counting here.
It's better than 1, 2, and 3, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, this will be a fun dive. And that was beautiful.
Oh, I thought so. Very nice one.
That was a really good dive right there. He was a little far away from the board, but boy, it doesn't get much better than that.
3, 6.5. So
and coming straight up and down, going through the surface of the line. So I think they counted him off a little on the height, but boy, that was a good dive.
Yes.
There's a twist dive.
Oh, I thought so.
And he hit that one pretty good too. Yes. Let's see what we get on those scores. Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 7s and a 6. Very good.
Yeah, that's a new dive he's really gotten improved on this year over last year. He's a sophomore. Six dives. Yep, those twist dives are a tough dive too, and she got that around. She was a little short twisting. Her twist didn't come all the way around, and so they would consider that not quite completing the dive completely, but enough to score it. So that's what the goal is.
She received some 2s on that one and a 2.5, I believe. So I'm sure that's something she'll work on.
Oh yeah. All right, that was a really good takeoff. And she's over-rotated that a little bit. I know she's been working on a 1.5. Sometimes when you work on a dive that goes further, it's sometimes hard to stop when you do it a little bit less. So
yes, yes.
And the divers are always working on different dives and trying to adjust and trying to, as they go through the season, trying to pick out their best dives. When sectional comes, there we'll have to do 11 dives.
I see.
In order to compete at the.
I see.
And they have to do 2 from each category, and there's 5 categories: forward, back, inward, reverse, and twist. There's these twist dives, and then they have one other dive that they add to that. So they have to become pretty accomplished at a lot of dives by the
I would
end of the
think
season.
so. Do they specialize in one particular dive, or can they do that, or is that advisable?
No, they have to have those 2 from each category. Now, they usually have ones that they consider their best dive, and they really try to to get that one to score big for them. But
yes, that's what I was wondering if they do that.
Yeah, they all have favorite dives that they
sure,
kind of really.
Sure, and then it compensates for the ones that
Sure.
they don't do too well with.
Exactly.
Must be quite an event when it gets to the postseason.
It is.
I'll bet.
It is. And there's an inward, nice entry.
Yes.
She's pretty low and out, but everything else was executed pretty well on that. So, yeah.
4, 5, and a 6
Yeah.
on that one.
Yep. She gets a little more height to that. Not quite so far out. She'll score pretty good on that. Yeah, that's a nice takeoff and twist.
Right.
She came around a little bit, maybe came in. No, yeah, she did. She did come a little bit past where she wanted to come in on that, but that was a nice dive.
4 and a couple of 5s.
Yeah.
Maybe they can take our telecast here tonight to help them work on their dives.
Look at the dives. Yeah, they do use a camera and TiVo. So they get to look at their dives over and over. That one may have looked like it was close to the board, but she actually went to the side a little bit there. So it wasn't quite as close as
well, that's
it may have
good
looked.
because it
yeah.
got a 4 and a half, a 5 and a half, and a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked pretty close to me from here.
Yeah, but she did go on the other side of the board there a little bit.
Oh, okay,
and,
okay.
So it wasn't quite as close.
That's good.
It looked. Yeah, these twist dives, they're really, it's, you're you're going off that board and flinging yourself through the air, and then you got to do twists. Boy, I tell you, it takes a lot of guts to do diving. Yeah, up and over.
Very good.
Pike could be tighter, but pretty good.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, the judges thought so too.
Yeah, the judges like it, 5 and a half. So.
Yeah, not bad. And there's a duck. He came around a little bit much on that, but I tell you what, Quentin is a good diver, and as a freshman, boy, I tell you what, he's gonna really do some things.
Yes, got some good years ahead of him, I would think.
Yeah.
The start he's getting this year.
There's a 2.5, and he came out of that one pretty early, which it was what he wanted to do, and that was right. But you don't see too many doing a 2.5 that come out quite that early. That's excellent. Not quite a little bit of a splash going in. He's a little wide, but for 2.5 somersaults, pretty good.
What's his class at Centerville?
He's a sophomore.
Oh, okay, great.
Yep, and he was a regional qualifier last year.
So, as a freshman, that was great.
Yeah. He's got his sights set on state this year, but it gets pretty competitive when you get up there into sectional and regional. Yeah. Once again, a little more height on that, but not a bad tuck. Out there. not bad.
Got some 4s and 4.5. Is Carmel the school that dominates swimming a lot?
Yeah. Their diving program isn't quite as strong as their swimming, but the girls have won state, I think, 30 years in a row.
Oh God.
Yeah, they're very dominant. And there's that inward 1.5,
Yeah,
and she almost hit that one right on the button. Her legs are a little bit short, but boy, was that a good dive for her. Yep, her legs just kind of petered out there at the end, but boy, that was good.
Yeah, the judges give her a couple of 4s and a 4.5. So.
Okay. Good approach, but then she kind of cut that off a little bit. Out a little bit, and those knees bent pretty good going in. Sometimes those forward dives are tough to do.
Yes, she received some 2s from the judges because of her entry, I guess, is where a lot of the judging came from.
And that was a pretty good entry there.
I think so, yeah.
Pretty good height. And Coach Brad likes it.
7, a 9, and an 8.
Okay,
so
we're counting again.
Yes.
So, yep, pretty good straight coming in there. That was a pretty dive. Yep, nice takeoff on that. Little tighter on the tuck maybe, but pretty good. Entry is about exactly where you want it. Okay, speaking of favorite dives, this is one of her favorites. Yeah. Nice dive there. Yeah, and they're giving her pretty good scores.
Yes, some 7s and 6s. So, was that the girl that was in the regional?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, Jolie Rusnick. She's a senior, and she has signed to dive at Indiana State University.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, she's very excited.
I'll bet.
No, not too bad.
Oh,
little bit of a turn there at the end. Tuck wasn't real tight, but not bad.
Couple of 2, or 1 2, 1 2.5, and a 3.
Yeah. And 2 somersaults. Out a little bit, not quite straight going in, but pretty high degree of difficulty on that.
Yes. 2 4.5s and a 5
Yep.
for 10.
Okay, and this is a back double, so this will be fun too. Look at there, boom, little over, but that's a fun dive to watch. Yep. Up and over. He's got to hold that tighter at the end.
5.5 on that for
Yeah.
that young guy.
Pretty good.
Yes, I thought so.
His entry wasn't great, but everything else about that was pretty darn good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sixes, 6.5.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that takes care of our diving
That's the
portion
diving
here.
portion of the event here tonight.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you.
Well, Darren, I
coming
really
and
appreciate you
showing off
stopping-
swimming and diving.
helping us. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to have somebody that knows what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Thanks,
I appreciate
Darren.
it. Thank you, Frank.
And have a great meet with your swim team.
Okay.
And
Excellent.
continue good luck in this season.
Okay. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Darren.
Okay.
It's Darren Ridenauer, who is the coach of the swim team at Centerville, joining us for the diving portion of tonight's event, as Centerville here is at Connorsville on Pink Out Night for this swim meet. And the youngsters have raised funds for cancer research, and we'll be hearing sometime during the swim meet how this contest worked out, as both schools, the swim teams, were selling T-shirts and seeing which one could raise the most money with their goal of $4,000, and we hope that they reach it. Again, that's the conclusion of the diving portion of our meet, and we'll be back right after this break as the swim teams will be getting underway. You're watching the TV3 Game of the Week. Welcome everybody to our swim meet here at Spartans Natatorium on the CHS campus. And we are joined by Kelly Drew, who is a volunteer coach for the swim team, and she's also the wife of the head coach. So Kelly, welcome to TV3.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
And Ron Wiley is here with us as we are about to begin the portion of the swim meet with the races underway. We'll be starting off with the 200 girls medley, I believe. Is that right, Kelly?
That is correct.
Okay, so and this will take how long?
Well, the 200 medley relay, that's always the kickoff to the meet. The girls always swim prior to the boys' events. This will be four individuals per lane.
Uh-huh.
Each swimmer will be swimming 2 laps of a different stroke.
Okay, we've got 3 Spartans and two Lady Bulldogs in the water, ready to go.
Yes, that's Connorsville swimming in lanes 1, 3, and oh no, we only have two teams in, 1 and 3, and then that puts Centerville in 2, 4, and 6.
Okay, the Spartans, of course, are in red and Centerville in blue.
For Connorsville out of lane 3, we have Maria Wells, Audra Volz, Grace Newman, and Macy Weiler. Those will be the quartet making up our A relay. Out of lane 1, at the top of the screen, we will have Grace McCann, Stevie Meyer, Maddie Powell, and Brooklyn McClung.
Okay, and Centerville's in the lead right now.
Looks like Connorsville's making a bit of a run on the breaststroke here. Now, Kelly, when we do the individual just a straight relays, maybe a freestyle, you always put your best guy in the middle. Is that correct?
No, anchor or the last swimmer, fourth place is always your fastest swimmer. In a medley relay that we're watching now, you're putting your 4 best swimmers out of each individual stroke.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, our lady with the breaststroke, she did very well too. And
yes.
Now the butterfly, our girl looks like she's got the lead.
Yes, this is freshman Grace Newman. Butterfly is her strong stroke for us. She has taken over that position as our #1 butterflyer on the team.
Yeah, she looks real smooth, not taking that much breath.
No, and that's kind of the key in butterfly, especially in a sprint, is that you want to put your head down and take as few breaths as possible. Going into the water now is senior Macy Weiler, and this is her premier event as a freestyler. She'll swim the 50 and the 100 probably come towards the end of the season at the sectional meets. She's our top sprinter. She's finishing strong.
Now, again, you mentioned these girls will do the individual events.
Yes. Yes, probably you'll see each one of these these girls that swim the individual strokes will swim those events as well later on in the meet. Centerville's going to be a very strong competition for us this evening. So you'll probably see our strongest lineup, girls swimming in their best events.
Now, you say that, do they, if you're, let's say you're going up against a team that's not as good, does Daryl shuffle the lineup a little bit to try to get other girls experience working with other teams?
Absolutely, he does, for several reasons. First of all, some kids, if you stick them in the same event over and over, there's a little bit of burnout, a little bit of struggle if you're not getting particularly the times that you're reaching for time and time again. It's nice to just have a break from kind of what your strongest event is. Others is, he's looking to see who can do what in what events. Try to kind of find your place on the team. And sometimes it's a matter of, we only have 3 spots to put our kids in each and every night, so you've got to give everyone a chance to earn their spot in those particular events.
Makes sense.
Okay, that was the girls. Now the boys getting ready for it. This is a 200 medley relay.
And again, out of lane 1 for Connorsville, we have Hutton Getz, Seth Spurlock, Nick Flug, and Spencer Noah. Lane 3, in the middle of the pool, we have Jonah Hensley, Peyton Kiefaber, Zane Spurlock, and James Smith. And in lane 5, we have Kyle Downard, Warren Toole, Ethan Jennings, and Maxwell Crank. This is the backstroke leg, which always starts the medley relay off. Looks like Jonah's finishing strong there in an exchange into Peyton. Peyton is the middle Kiefaber child. We've had Steven, graduated 2 years ago. He was a breaststroker. Peyton is also a breaststroker, and younger sister Morgan is an up-and-coming breaststroker at the middle school level, so it runs in the family.
Sounds like. A big lead we have developed.
Yeah, opening up pretty strong lead here. Going into the water, and the exchange will be Zane Spurlock. Zane's a senior, swimming his final year here at CHS. Really opening up an even wider lead. At this point, we're about almost a full lap or 25 yards ahead of the next competitors.
I tell you, it just looks difficult, but they make it look easy, the butterfly.
Absolutely. When you get a good butterflyer and they've got nice rhythm going, it does make it look very, very easy, but it is not.
No, it's very difficult, yeah.
Deceiving.
There's no way I can do that.
Definitely deceiving. Nick Flug out of lane 1, finishing his leg of the relay, also a senior. James Smith, freestyler, a senior, finishing for the A relay. James has been fun to watch over the last several years. He started out as a diver, and we quickly learned that he could swim. He got thrown into the 500 several times for several years, and this year he's finally having a little more fun getting to swim the shorter distances.
Yeah, those 500, I'm getting tired thinking about it. So this kid was a diver, and it just so happened Daryl needed somebody in the 500 and threw him in there. And
yes, did well. He decided he kind of liked it.
Liked this one, yeah.
Yeah. And I tell you, he's one of those kids that's really has been fun to watch, but is just willing to do whatever it takes for the team to get a win. Great kid to have around.
Girls up next, the 200-yard freestyle. And this will take how much time, Kelly?
Well, we're looking at anywhere from just over 2 minutes to closer to the 3-minute mark.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be 8 laps of the pool, all freestyle. In lane 1 for Connorsville, we have Katie Cooley. Lane 2 from Centerville, Bailey Owens. Lane 3 from Connorsville, Riley Loper. Lane 4 from Centerville, Lindsay Glover. Lane 5 from Connorsville, Caroline Poe. And lane 6 from Centerville, Lydia Nevels.
Okay, here we go with the girls' 200-yard freestyle.
And the key to this event is probably just trying to keep your pace for all 4 50s or all 8 laps. In a 200 freestyle, you kind of tend to break it down into 4 50s. You swim it mentally
Yes.
as 4 50s. And you want to keep those splits, or at each 50, we're tracking the times, and those are called splits.
Are you getting faster or just maintaining?
Well, your first one's always going to be a little faster just because you're fresh. A 200, even though for a lot of people it looks like a distance, it's not. It's still considered, it should be considered a sprint event. It should be 4 50s paced as a sprint. The difficult one is always that third 50. You know, as a coach, we kind of try to teach the kids to really hang on and mentally tough it out and get through that third 50, because then, you know, you just get to turn for home. Riley's opened up a nice little lead here.
Yeah, she looks very relaxed.
Yeah, this
And
is,
so does the Centerville girl.
yes, this has been somewhat of a new event for her. She's come up through the cast club, so she's spent a lot of time swimming and a lot of time swimming this event, but not at the high school level. She's a sophomore. Last year she was stuck mostly to the sprints. This year she's been called on a lot to do more of the 200 and the 500. So she's kind of still playing with figuring out how to swim it. She's done a really good job for us this year.
You know, she's looking, like I said, she's looking very, very poised, very like she's done this forever.
She has a nice long stroke, strong kick, which is really important. A lot of kids will drop their kicks. Pretty strong turns.
Yeah, she's opened up almost about a full body length, maybe a little bit more.
Yes. And in the 200 at the high school level, a lot of times that's just it. You will see a lot of kids really kind of start out strong. That first 50, everyone's pretty even neck and neck, and then it starts to just open up a little bit more. And it becomes a little bit more of strategy, who's kind of conserved some energy and been able to swim 4 50s that are a little bit closer together time-wise.
Yeah, you talked about conserving energy. Yeah, great race by her.
Yes.
2:17. That's a great time. Is she thinking about her other races as well, conserving energy as well, or are you just focused on what you're doing now?
She needs to just be concentrating on what's going on between her 2 lane ropes right now.
Okay.
Get out of the pool, try to
Get up,
recover, and
relax,
start
yeah.
thinking about your next event.
Get out as fast as you can so you can have the most time to relax. Makes sense.
Yeah, and these kids, that's why they train the way they do train. They pretty much in a 2-hour practice, they have very little downtime. You know, they'll give these swimmers a set. They complete the set. You have a couple minutes to try and recover, and you get your next set, and you go at it again. It's kind of like swimming or like running cross country, or saying we're going to go run a mile. Then you're going to have a few minutes to rest. We're going to run another mile, and under these amounts, these times. So these kids have trained the majority of their life and the majority of the season to recover quickly and go swim again.
Okay, the boys' 200-yard freestyle. The boys, do they usually in most events swim faster than the girls, Kelly?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And especially at this age. As the kids start out at the club level, there's very definitely a period where the girls mature a little quicker than the boys do, and they may easily be faster than the boys. And then by this time, you're pretty much always going to see that the boys will be faster than the girls.
Okay, underway, the boys' 200-yard freestyle.
In lane 1 from Connorsville is Hutton Getz. Lane 2 from Centerville, Jackson Trotwine. Lane 3 from Connorsville, Zane Spurlock. Lane 4 from Centerville, Parker James. Lane 5 from Connorsville, Ethan Jennings. And lane 6 from Centerville, Evan Sylvia.
Spurlock is in the lead right now, I believe. Lane 3.
It just seemed like those two really opened up quicker than anyone. There wasn't that, beginning where everyone stayed the same. And
And if you look at their seed times, those two are much stronger swimmers than the rest of the field in terms of their final time. They're much faster, so their pace is going to be much faster. If they're swimming their race, they should be setting a faster pace than the other swimmers in this race. Zane has always traditionally been much more of a short sprinter, a 50 and a 100, and he's trying this year to kind of expand his repertoire and hit a couple more 200s, so he's definitely learning how to swim this event. His tendencies are just all-out sprint, no pace, no strategies.
Just go.
Yeah, so he's tooling around with a 200 to.
Looking very, very good. He's opened up, a much bigger lead. Looks like he's picking it up just a little bit, kicking a lot more.
Yes.
Well, he's on his last 50, so he's wanting to get under 2 minutes, I would assume.
And he very definitely should be under the 2-minute mark. In several races this year, it's been a struggle for Zane just to find enough competition to kind of get where he wants to get.
Yeah, right at 2 minutes.
2:00. That's a decent time for Zane, but I'm sure that he's not super thrilled with that.
And it seemed like he knew his time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to have to really step it up and learn how to motivate himself and just race against himself this year. Lane 1, Hutton Guts finishing at a 2:18. That's right around his best time for this year.
Yeah, I noticed with our guy who won, he very smooth. Maybe a couple, didn't take a breath every stroke, couple strokes. A lot of these young kids they seem like every stroke there. And I would assume if you're breathing after every stroke, it slows your time down.
It does. In an event, especially like the 200, you should probably be breathing every third stroke. So not only does that slow your breathing down, but you can then see the entire field. You can see both sides of you, what the swimmers are doing in the other lanes.
Okay, we're getting ready for the girls' 200-yard individual medley. 2.5 minutes, it looks like, would be an average time for a young lady, Kelly.
Yeah, again, kind of the middle of the 2 minutes up to the 3-minute mark in this heat is a seed time. This event will be the 200 medley, individual medley. So each swimmer again will be swimming all four strokes. And the order of this will be 2 laps of butterfly, then 2 laps of breaststroke, backstroke, then 2 laps of breaststroke, and 2 laps of freestyle.
Okay.
Now, if they forget which stroke it is, I mean, they're automatically DQ'd.
They are. It has to be in that order, and in the IM event, there is particular, not only do you have to swim each stroke by the rules of that stroke, but each turn is specified with special rules. Like on a butterfly and breaststroke, you have to hit both walls with 2 hands. A backstroke to backstroke flip turn, which we're going to see coming up here. They're going into the wall swimming backstroke. They're going to flip over onto their stomach and then come off on their back. If that's not technically correct, they will get DQ'd or disqualified.
So technique is a big in the individual.
Absolutely.
Like it's a race between Audra Volts in 3 for Connersville and in 4 Aubrey Davis from Centerville.
Yeah,
Yes.
very good.
Yes.
And it looked like the Centerville girl took a little extra time but she still it looks like she's down about half a body length.
Yes, Aubrey is a backstroker, so that was going to be her strong.
Wow, she's really opened it up.
Right.
And I think it was that turn, Kelly. It looked like that turn. She turned better out of the backstroke than the breaststroke.
And Audra is definitely a strong breaststroker. So in an IM, you're going to expect for Audra to pull away from most of our competitors in the breaststroke.
Now the breaststroke, is your head supposed to be totally submersed?
It does not have to be. It can be. Breaststroke is probably the one stroke that there's a lot of different ways of swimming it. Some people stay very low. When they come out of the water, they stay very low on top of the water. Some come up extremely high, kind of full chest out of the water. Some swim nice and long strokes. Some are little short strokes.
Is it style or body type that determines how you do the breaststroke?
It's more just technique, what's most comfortable with you, where you're more productive. If you breaststroke is a very leg-driven sport, and if your timing is proper, you're going to see much more of that. Out of kids that are swimming breaststroke and have strong legs, you're going to see a nice long stroke. Some kids don't. Even though they're breaststrokers, they don't have such a strong kick on their breaststroke, so you're going to see a little bit more of a shortened stroke. So it's a little bit knowing what's going to be best for each individual. And you will see lots of different styles.
So the Lady Spartan Audra Volts, what's her class?
She is a junior this year, so so she'll stick around for one more year.
That's good. Yeah, but she looked very good in this particular event. Boys next will be in the 200-yard individual medley. Is there a favorite in this one, Kelly?
I would say from Connorsville, I would look for Peyton Kefauver out of lane 3 to probably be our strongest swimmer. And when you seed or set up a swim meet in a 6-lane pool, you're always going to have your fastest swimmers in lane 3 and 4. So fastest swimmers are always in the middle of the pool, and then it kind of pyramids outward. So if things are set up properly and the kids perform the way you're expected, then you're going to see that pyramid as the race kind of opens up.
And that's why, again, we mentioned this last year, there's a reason why they're in the middle, because you've earned that middle spot where there's less wake.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can see if you look at the pool, there are lane ropes separating each individual swimmer, but there's also lane ropes on the outside of the outside swimmers. Those lane ropes are not only there just to divide the swimmers, but they eat or absorb the waves from each swimmer. So if you're in the middle of the pool, you're getting less turbulence or less wake. All of those waves go outward to the outsides and then bounce off those walls and come back in. So you're going to get less of that from the inside lanes.
Well, that Centerville, he was just phenomenal.
Nico Winkley, he's a very good swimmer. He's been around for quite some time as well. Another club swimmer.
This is Nico Wankeri from Centerville, who's in the lead right now in number 4.
And lane 3 next to him is Peyton Kefauver. Lane 1 out of lane 1 for Connorsville is Noah Spencer. And lane 5 for Connorsville is Nick Flug. Spencer Noah is another one of those kids that's relatively new to the sport. He's been swimming for just a couple years now. I believe started when he was in middle school.
Yes.
Kefauver
looks like he's, just not straight on the backstroke, which cost him,
bouncing
a lot
off of those lane ropes a little bit.
Yeah, he was, zigging and zagging. If he went straight, he might have caught up, but
looks like he's still out in front.
And I would think Peyton who will definitely catch up some on this breaststroke because he is a breaststroker. This is his strong stroke. But Nico's opened up a pretty large lead. I don't know that Peyton will have enough pool to catch him on the breaststroke.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to, but he has cut into the lead a little bit.
And breaststroke is the make it or break it stroke of an IM.
Yeah, we've noticed that with the medley relays.
Yeah. We've got a great race going on between lane 1 and 2 right now. Again, that breaststroke leg, you never know who's going to do what. That's the crapshoot of this event.
Yeah, it looks like Centerville comfortably is going to win this one, and he just started off phenomenally in the backstroke.
Peyton's a little off with his time tonight. I'm sure that he's not going to be happy.
Well, it just, and I don't know if he did this on purpose. It just seemed like when he knew he was out of it, he just kind of controlled. Now, is the time involved as far as the points added, or is it just the placement?
Just the placement.
It's okay.
2:19 for the Centerville boy to win. Closest was Connersville's key favorite with 2:32.
And unfortunately, our lane 5 touchpad has not been working very well the last couple of meets. So as you look at these events, we're going to struggle to get those times up as we would like. We do have a brand new scoreboard coming.
Cummings not here yet, though.
It is not. It is not. That's pretty exciting news for our program to get a new scoreboard.
No, they were hoping its arrival by tonight, but it didn't make it.
No, I think that it's going to be several more meets until it actually shows up and gets installed. We're in dire need, but we'll just be patient a little while longer.
Okay, the girls' 50-yard freestyle. This should not take long, less than a minute, isn't it?
Correct. These should all be under 45 seconds.
It's the fastest.
2 laps down and back. And this
fastest
is the
race in sports.
Heat 1, or the JV event. Out of lane 1 is Grace McCann for Connersville. Looks like we've got Sarah Kalkoff swimming out of lane 3 for Connersville.
Now, there's not a 25-meter race, is there, in high school? Because I know that during the Olympics, it's the fastest race in sports is the 50, and that's just one length because they have a 50-meter pool.
Right. In the club level, at the 8 and unders, you get to swim 25 yards, and after that, you go to 50s. Yeah. So a 50 freestyle.
50,
yeah, 50 freestyle is our shortest event, and again, at the club level, you get at 11 and 12. You no longer swim 50s in the stroke events either. So you jump up to the 100s and the 200s.
Lane 1 got 2nd place.
That's a nice time for Grace McCann again.
Okay, the winner goes to Jenna Larson of Centerville, right?
Yeah, so that's
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and Sarah Kalkoff out of lane 3 had another nice time, another drop from her last meet.
That's all you're looking for. You're looking for drops.
Absolutely, just it's you versus the clock. This should be a fun race. Macy Weiler in lane 3 and Sydney Whiteley out of lane 4. Very close in best times.
And when you dive, you want to skim the surface, correct?
Yeah, well, you want to make sure that you're out in a nice, straight, streamlined position, but you also want to get deep enough that, again, you're underneath any splash that anyone else is creating on that dive.
Another close race.
Another Centerville winner here. This is Sydney Whiteley from Centerville.
Boy, she got out of the blocks quick and,
Yes.
and didn't look back at all.
No, she didn't. That was the best time for her at 25.3.
Well, they don't call them blocks, I would assume.
No, they do. Those are the
they do?
blocks.
Are the
Yep,
blocks?
yep,
Okay.
those are
All right,
blocks.
yeah.
Yep, that's what we call them.
Now the
Looks like-
boys' 50-yard freestyle.
I'm thinking of blocks, you think of the track and field. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. And again, that makes a difference. We've seen in years past where you win by a fraction of a second, and it has to do with maybe you slip off. Do they make sure that that's dry up there? The blocks are dry, or?
If you want to do that, you can take your own towel and dry them off. But if you can see closely, they are they're textured. They have a roughness to them, and they have striations in them, so that helps with grip. And I don't think the IHSAA has imposed this rule yet, but at the collegiate and the international level, they've now started to put fins on the back of the blocks. So sprinters and/or anyone who's starting off the top of the blocks will have an extra push and an extra foothold.
Mason Stevens in front for the Spartans, and he's the winner.
24.67. That's a nice time for
Yes.
Mason. I believe that's his first 24 in the individual event this year.
And he's got to be happy about that.
Absolutely. James Smith pulling in second out of lane 5 with a 25.6. That is a great time. Justin Kidd out of lane 1 at a 26.9. That again is a nice solid time from him. He's been very consistent at that high 26. Mason Stevens out of lane 3, another diver turned swimmer. He was a move-in after his freshman year. He moved in from Hagerstown, and he came in as a diver, and quickly we turned him into a swimmer.
It makes sense
well.
after seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever see swimmers go to divers?
Occasionally, we actually we've had that in the past. Most of the divers come in having a background in just like gymnastics, or they have a reason that they've started in on the diving board versus in the pool. And then it's a little bit easier to make that transition because if you can dive, you can clearly swim.
Right.
It's just a matter of how strong you swim.
I can do a back dive. That's about it. Maybe a cannonball, but that doesn't count.
Diving was never my strong suit either.
Looks like we're taking a little bit of a break, it seems.
Yes, this will be a 10-minute break now because this is where the diving, if we don't do diving at the start of the meet, we do it in the middle. So to slow things down and give the kids a break, we take a 10-minute where they can either warm up, cool down, or just recover.
The girls' 100-yard butterfly will be up next when we return to the CHS Natatorium here on the TV3 Game of the Week.
Bigfoot or
play basketball.
boys.
Ready for the girls' 100-yard butterfly. This event between Centerville and Connersville is swimming on Pink Out Night. And Kelly will bring us up to date on who's swimming for which schools.
Looks like out of lane 1, we'll have Maria Wells from Connersville. Out of lane 2, Satali Moreno from Centerville. Lane 3, Grace Newman from Connersville. Lane 4, Kayla Newman from Centerville. Lane 5, Maddie Powell from Connersville. And lane 6, Madeline Day from Centerville.
Okay. This will take a little over a minute, maybe a minute and a half, something like that.
Yeah, it looks like everyone should be under right around the 1:30 mark. Again, this is that stroke that takes the most out of you, the most effort, and pretty technical to swim.
Yeah, I mean, because your body does so many different things at so many different times, and
yeah, it takes a lot of upper body strength to kind of get your arms out and around the water like that. And again, this is one of those strokes that's very specific to timing. If you have your timing proper as far as your hips in the right place, your hands moving at the right time, it makes it much easier to swim. You can watch a Michael Phelps and you can see how easily he makes it swim versus the rest of us beginners.
Yeah, he makes everything look very easy. He makes it look like I can go out there and win a gold medal.
Yeah. Looks like Grace Newman is taking this out pretty strong. Maria Wells out of lane 1, sticking pretty close to her hip. Not much competition though from either one of them. As long as everyone stays legal, looks like Connersville will be taking 1, 2, and 3 in this event. That's always helpful for the cause.
Absolutely, especially at Centerville. I think they won the last 2. Oh, and it looks like somebody might have been DQ'd.
No, timing. The board just wasn't.
Oh, I was
our wonderful scoring system.
Yeah, scared me for a second when I saw the triple zeros go on up there. I thought, oh no.
Grace Newman finishes, right? She's the winner of this one.
Yeah, it's a freshman, so that's promising for our future.
What is her class?
She's a freshman, so yeah, we've got 4.
Good. Super,
we've got her for 4 years.
Well, it looks like lane 1 it still has the 0, and there's no place by her.
Sometimes, if the kids don't hit the touch pads, you can. If you look closely at the end, there are black touch pads that are dropped into the end of the pool, and they form crosses on the end of the lanes. Those are computer chips. They're hooked up to the computer, and so you have to touch it, and you have to touch it strong enough that it actually registers. So sometimes again, with our system right now, it's
Right.
a little difficult to say, was it too soft of a touch, or was it just our computer system not quite?
Not catching it.
Uh-huh.
Well, it did catch it, and she got
Yeah.
second place.
And seeing they've made some adjustments. Grace Newman was originally listed with a 118, and they've adjusted that to 111. That'll make her much happier.
Yeah.
Much closer to the time that she should be swimming.
And, you know, very beautiful. I mean, again, she makes it look very easy.
Yes.
This is the boys' 100-yard butterfly.
Out of lane 1 from Connersville, we have Nick Flug. Lane 3 from Connersville, Zane Spurlock. And lane 5 from Connersville, Maxwell Crank. Nick and Zane have been swimming this event off and on for several years. Maxwell is new to this event. He's actually new to the sport. Last year was his first year swimming. So for him to be able to step up and swim the butterfly event is pretty impressive. Zane should take this out and win this pretty easily. Again, his challenge is going to be, can he push himself into the time frame that he wants?
And what time frame does he want?
Ideally,
Right about a minute?
definitely under a minute.
Well,
Zane Spurlock is really opening up a big lead here. He's in lane 3.
Again, he's splitting at 26:04, so he's going to have to hustle to get in under that minute time barrier that he's looking for. He's seated with a 58.56.
Right, under a minute he's completed this event. So
he really made a big
Here he
up on
comes.
that last.
Now, as he swims, you can
25.
see his hips coming up out of the water. When
Yeah,
his head's
he's-
down and his hips are
Yeah,
up,
he's very good that last.
that keeps him up on top of the water and very balanced.
yeah, 57.8. That's great.
Yeah,
That would be a best time for this season.
Yeah, he very much did what he was supposed to do. He was on a 102 track, and that last 50 he burned it up.
Got a race here from the Connersville out of lane 1 and 5, Nick and Maxwell.
You know, 57.81. You see it on your screen right there. I mean, that's just, again, we were worried that he wouldn't make the under 100 on that first 50, or under a minute on that first 50. And boy, he blazed at the last.
And again, that's just a matter of him having to just really dig deep and push himself, because it would be really easy to just lay back and take it easy.
Yeah, that first turn, again, I'm not an expert, didn't seem as good as the last turn when he brought it home. And again, we've talked years before, Kelly, turns make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. You have to go in strong and come out strong. And again, it's just all in the technique.
Here's the girls' 100-yard freestyle. We're getting underway here.
And this heat would be a JV heat. Looks like all Centerville swimmers in this heat in lane 2, 4, and 6.
And why is this?
When you have swimming typically will only be a varsity event, but when you do have a large enough team to throw in a couple extra heats or a JV heat, that just gives more opportunity for the kids to swim. Because we don't, in this area of the state, we don't have JV swim meets. Up in Indianapolis, where you have larger high school swim teams, you might catch a JV meet, or there will be teams who have a JV squad who will actually go and compete against another varsity. Carmel.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah,
You know,
Aren't they still winning everything?
Yeah.
Is it the girls or boys or both?
Girls. They hover about 100 girls on their swim team, so they have to take a JV and or like a B and a C team, and they will go and swim other high schools' varsities.
We spoke with Darren Reitnauer on that, Kelly and Ron, and he said he thinks the girls at Carmel have won about 30 years.
Yes, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I can't say exactly how many, but I know it's pressing 30 right now.
Yeah, he said it.
Did they just give them the state title at the beginning of the year?
Just about.
Yeah.
Terrific program, I guess. Though.
Yeah, they really don't. There's no one who even comes close to them.
Wow.
They have move-ins from other states who are coming to Carmel to swim.
Really?
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And these girls are going to big-time college swimming schools. SEC, they're spread all over the country. several of the graduates and a couple of their high school swimmers at the last Olympic trials came extremely close to making the Olympic teams.
A Centerville girl in lane 4 won this one. Journey Carnett, Lady Bulldog.
In the varsity heat, out of lane 1, we'll have Avery Webb from Connersville. Lane 3 from Connersville, Macy Weiler. And lane 5 from Connersville, Carrie Cooley.
Okay. See how.
And again, this is going to be a rematch of the 50 freestyle in lane 3 and 4 between Connersville and Centerville. This is good for Macy. She a lot of times doesn't see much competition, so she's going to be pushed to her limit tonight in this event. She's coming in with a seed time tonight at just under 1 minute at 59.8. And we know Macy can swim faster than that. She just hasn't this season yet. So hopefully this will, even if she doesn't win the event, that this will push her to a faster time.
Yeah, it looks like the Centerville girl is just taking the lead, and it was on that turn right there in the second 50. So she's opening it up a little bit.
Don't forget strength and speed going into those turns, how quickly you can get your feet over your head and onto the wall, and how tightly and what position you're in coming off the wall. It makes a big difference as far as a time.
Yeah, the Centerville girl just looked like at the very end she had a lot more, her strokes are a lot more fluid, a lot more calmer.
Yeah, she kept her tempo
Yeah.
and her rhythm very even. Looks like Carrie Cooley in lane 5 turned in a 109 for 4th place, and up in lane 1 in a very tight race. We had Avery Webb with a 109.3. So those two girls were just neck and neck as well.
So they're only scoring the first three places, correct?
I think 1 through 5 scores,
Oh, okay.
and each you get more points for
It's the
the higher you
boys,
score.
boys 100-yard freestyle.
In lane 1 for Connersville is Justin Kidd. Lane 3 for Connersville is Mason Stevens. Then lane 5 from Connersville is James Smith. And again, I'm hoping that Nico out of lane 5 will push both of the Connersville swimmers to stay up and push them to good times. Mason's taking this out really strongly. Splitting it at 26.6. That should keep him in for a nice time.
Mason Stevens in 3 has the lead for Connersville.
James Smith is hanging in there in lane 5, as well as Justin Kidd out of lane 1. We got a really tight race for 3rd place between the two Connersville swimmers, and Mason Stevens is going to turn in a really nice time here for him. 55.38 for first. James Smith touches 3rd from Connersville with a 59.4, and just out of reach in lane 1 is Justin Kidd with a 59.6. Nice times for both of those kids. I think that's the first time that Justin has possibly broken a minute. So again, that's one of those barriers that those kids really strive for, is to break through that minute barrier.
And one thing I do like, I like the sportsmanship. I like, the kids slapping hands of their opponents. It doesn't matter. They're all happy for each other, and I could be out there swimming, 2 hours in this, and they'd still be rooting me on.
Yeah, it's a very special kinship that swimmers have with each other.
Okay, the girls' 500-yard freestyle is coming up next, and this is one of the long events. Probably over 5 minutes, won't it be, Kelly?
Yes, we're looking at over 6, closer to 7.5 minutes for some of these swimmers. Out of lane 1 for Connersville, we have Katie Cooley. In lane 2 for Centerville, we have Bailey Owens. Lane 3 for Connersville is Riley Loper. Lane 4 from Centerville, Lindsay Glover. Lane 5 for Connersville, Grace McCann. And lane 6 for Centerville, Lydia Nevels. We're looking at Riley Loper out of lane 3, already opening up a bit of a lead.
Yeah, this is the longest event of the evening, the 500-yard freestyle.
It'll be 20 laps. And you can see at the far end of the pool, the end that Riley is approaching now, that they have partners that are at the end and will help them count. That way they don't lose track of the laps that they have swum.
Right.
Because swimming 20 laps, you can tend to get a little distracted and not know.
Absolutely.
I know I would.
Lose count, really. I would.
I would need all the help in the world. For
Yeah, that would be the last thing I'd be thinking
right,
of,
yeah.
I guess.
I just want to get down. I want to get oxygen.
Yeah. And there's some strategy to this event with your counters. A lot of times, you know, these swimmers, again, I talked about in the 200 how you break it down into splits of every 50 you're looking to hit a certain time frame. 500, you swim the same way. And most of these kids, if you're an experienced 500 swimmer, you know what your goal time is. You've divided that up. You kind of know what your splits should be. Your counters should know what your splits are also, and they're tracking your splits, and they're giving signals sometimes with their counter. You know, you'll see sometimes they're kind of throwing them up and down or side to side. They're giving signals
know, hey,
or
hurry
codes.
up, or you're behind. Or
Exactly.
Yeah, and it looks like lane 3, they're going
Yeah.
up and down. So I don't know if that means she's right on track, but she knows. That's all that matters. Yeah.
Exactly.
Riley
It's kind of like
Loper
baseball. You don't want people stealing your signals.
That's right.
Riley Loper is out in front. Connersville.
She's got
What's
a
her
nice pace
class?
going on right now. Nice long stroke. Not much head movement. Again, she keeps her feet up high. She kicks a lot. That helps tremendously.
Yeah, again, you can tell these experienced swimmers, it looks just
Effortless.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess that's the only way you can describe it. It looks like anybody can do it.
And the sad thing is they do make it look easy, and you would think that, you know, it's just mindless swimming, but it's,
right.
again, it's not. They
No.
should, you know, the more experienced you are in a 500, the more you should be thinking, you know, tracking your splits, stroke count, kicking. A lot of kids have set up a certain game plan with their coaches, as far as what I talked about, like Riley keeping her feet up. You can see the splash and you can see her feet, and her kick is strong. Some of them will say we need to slow that kick down at this point, or at this point in the pool, or this point in the race, so that they don't get too extremely tired.
And it seems like she's coming out and she's taking a first stroke with her right arm. Is that, I mean, if you're right-handed, or is it just your style?
Kind of personal preference. It's just kind of a habit that you get into. We as coaches try really hard to try and teach our kids, no matter what the event, that you really should not be taking any strokes or any breaths inside the flags. You'll see it because they get tired.
Right.
You know, they're not always as experienced or as disciplined. But in swimming, that's kind of a no-no, is that you really, because you don't, when you turn your head to take a breath, you're throwing your body position a little out of line, so it's not as fast. So
Right.
you want to do that as little as possible, and going into and coming out of a turn is incredibly important to utilize that free power that you get off the walls as much as possible with a turn.
You know, it looks like it's a very close race, but our girl in 3 is almost she's lapping half the field.
Yeah, she's coming up on lapping everyone but one. So she set a nice pace, and she's getting more and more comfortable in this event.
Just a sophomore, Riley Loper, right?
Yes. Yes, and Riley has come up through the cast ranks, but she's a very hard worker, and she's got a real competitive edge. Riley does not like to lose.
Yeah.
And you can see that, because she's pretty tough and digs deep to do what she has to get a win. We've got a tight race here between the 3 of the girls. Out on lane 1, Katie Cooley, and in lane 5, Grace McCann, kind of neck and neck with Nevels from Centerville in lane 6.
Yeah, again, just very nice. I mean, just like she's just gliding over, you know, just gliding as little as she can, not getting too deep. It's her last lap.
Yeah, she's staying very strong, powering through, even though she really doesn't have anyone
Right.
to push.
Well, you know, she's got her time that she's going against, right? I mean, she's wanting to cut her time.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I love about this sport, is that it doesn't matter what your place is, you can always improve from your last time, and no one's judging you. No one's giving you playing time or lack of playing time. It's you and the clock. And that clock doesn't lie, and it doesn't change from venue to venue.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because it's 25 meters everywhere they race. So
Absolutely.
It's the same. Yeah. And we talked about this years past. How much can you hear the crowd?
You really can't. What you can hear is just the muffling of the noise. If you're on some of the outside lanes, you're definitely going to hear or see a coach that can kind of get in your face and really encourage you. But what you will be able to tell is the noise at the crowd level will increase. You can't pick out what anyone is saying, but you will tell that it is getting louder.
Right.
There's more volume.
And how aware are you of the racers next to you? I mean, if it's close race, you can feel their presence, you can feel the waves.
You absolutely better.
Yeah.
If you're a competitor, you're going to know it. You're going to know where they are.
Yeah, and as you should.
And again, it helps if you're a swimmer who can breathe off of both sides. That helps you check
where they're at.
Check the field.
Okay, next up will be the boys 500-yard freestyle.
I keep saying meters. I guess it's yards. I see the.
Yes. IHSAA swims, high school swims yards. You will see meters at the international level. The collegiate level still swims yards.
Oh, okay.
Most international competitions are meters, though. So when you're used to watching the Olympics,
right, yeah.
You're going to see the Olympics. They swim in meters. And they also swim in what we call a long course pool, so that it's twice as long.
Yeah, they're at the 50 meters. Yeah.
In lane 1 for Connorsville will be Spencer Noah. Lane 2 for Centerville will be Jackson Troutwine. Lane 3 from Connorsville, Jonah Hensley. Lane 4 for Centerville will be Parker James. And lane 5 for Connorsville will be Warren Toole.
It seems like they're just going a little faster starting than we saw with the girls. They were just.
Well, the boys are gonna set the pace faster because they're gonna come in with a faster time. This could be a really interesting race. Jonah is seated with a 5:57 out of lane 3, and in lane 4, Parker from Centerville is seated with a 5:58. So their seat time is only a second difference.
Yeah.
So this could be a neck and neck, all-out race for 20 laps.
And it makes a huge difference because we've seen in years past where this race is pretty much over after the first 150, 200. You got the clear winner. It's just a matter of how far she's going to win or he's going to win. Here with somebody breathing down your neck, it's going to make a huge difference.
Yep, and it's very interesting to see how kids respond to this, and the different styles. In a lot of cases, flip turns and something like a 500 where you're swimming 20 laps. Flip turns can make or break you.
Yeah.
A lot of times in not only just the 500, in just a 100, you can see where if you've got someone who's has very strong turns, they will win simply because they can outturn the other person. can't tell you how many times I've said to kids after a meet, you know, you got out-turned. You out-swam them, but you got out-turned.
Yeah. It's like free throws in basketball. Fran and I always talk about that, free throws.
Details.
Yeah, the little
details.
Things, yeah.
And in a 500, you know, the walls are your free throws. They are free.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You get free power off of those walls, and if you're not utilizing that to the best of your ability, you're giving away races.
And if you're in where you're not used to a long distance like this, where you're neck and neck with someone, that can throw your strategy off, can it? Where I need to get out fast, and instead of, you know, because obviously our guy has a better time if he just races his race compared, he'll win.
Yeah, and that's exactly, you know, the swimming motto is you can only control what's going on in between your two lane ropes. You know, you can't control what anyone's doing anywhere else in the pool, and you've got to swim your race. You can't let someone else take you out of your race. And so there are a lot of mental aspects to swimming that people don't realize, in terms of you can just flat out take someone out of their race by purposefully swimming a different style of race than what you normally do.
Well, you know, again, coming out at the very beginning, it looks like our guy may have wasted a lot of energy, because now he seems like he's not as fluid as the Centerville guy. The Centerville guy just, you know, again, he's, you know, taking a breath maybe every other stroke. Our guy is every, you know, and that's you can see it's taking its toll on him.
And here it becomes a mental race, you know, when you think you're going in, you're going to be neck and neck, and someone pulls away from you. Do you have the mental toughness to just keep chipping away and swim your race and have the confidence to know that you can come back?
Yep. Well, the Centerville guy kind of went close to the ropes there the last, you know, 10, 12 yards of that lap.
Yeah, it's Parker James who's leading right now in lane 4.
He's opened up about a half of a length lead on Jonah Hensley out of lane 3. And even at that, the number 1 and number 2 swimmers are lapping
everyone else. Yeah, they're the only ones on the current lap.
Well, the leader for Connersville is Jonah Hensley, just a freshman, right?
Yes, he is just a freshman.
That's good news.
Yes.
Very good news. Yeah, Jonah has come on strong in the last couple years, but he'll have a lot of growth and a lot of physical maturing to do over the next 4 years. So we'll see.
Yeah,
great improvements.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, again, probably the first time all season where he's had somebody kind of his equal, and it's just a maturity thing, and he'll grow back. I mean, he looks like he's now probably about 2.5 lengths.
Yeah.
Behind.
And as a freshman, you come in for really one of the first times in your swimming career swimming against people who are older than you. When you're swimming in the age group, it's just that. You're swimming against other swimmers your own age. So you're physically better matched.
Yes. Where do these youngsters swim before they get to the high school? Their middle school doesn't have swimming, so
middle school does. Yes, middle school does have a swim program, and then we have a club team called CAST, which would be equivalent to like AAU basketball. So they swim out of this pool also, and they swim all over the state of Indiana. And most of these, I would say, probably 80% of our kids that are on the high school team have come through the CAST in the middle school program.
Okay. Yeah, the swimmers middle school, it's an early season.
It is a fall sport.
Yes, it's over with, isn't it?
Yes, and they changed that a couple years ago just because we struggle with pool time. We only have a 6-lane pool. We really didn't have time or space to get the middle school swimmers, the high school swimmers, and the club swimmers in.
Yes.
At the same time, so we were fortunate enough that our school system moved the middle school swimming program to the fall. That allows more space in this pool.
Number 4, in lane 4, first place finisher with 5 minutes and 42 seconds. At 5:42:15, I guess. Gets pretty down to 1/10 of a second.
Yes. And that was a really nice swim for Parker James from Centerville.
Yeah, again, you talked about forcing someone to swim, a different race. It seemed like he did that from the beginning. And
Yeah.
again, our guy being a freshman, good news. He's got 4 years to grow, and he's going against a kid who's older than him, have a little bit more experience. So, I like the future with that kid.
Yeah, and he'll get a little more confidence and
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit of mental maturity to be able to, again, muscle through that and talk his way into going with that kid and swimming. I have no doubt that Jonah Hensley could swim a 5:42.
Oh yeah.
He's capable. Yeah, he's that good of a swimmer. He just doesn't know it yet.
Right.
He just doesn't know it yet.
And he'll figure it out.
And it hurts,
Yeah.
to go swim a 5:42. It hurts.
Yeah.
And it hurts
Yeah.
for 20 laps.
Yep. Oh, I bet. I'm watching them and I'm hurting.
And it hurts for quite a while afterwards.
Up next will be the girls' 200-yard freestyle relay, but right now we're waiting for Centerville swimmer to finish.
Kelly, you talked about middle school CAS programming. How much of Daryl's thumbprint, since he's the varsity coach, is it on the lower programs, the middle school and the CAS system?
Oh, he's got fingerprints all over it. He is the head coach for CAST, and he's the head coach for middle school.
Oh, swimming's in your guys' blood.
So by the time these kids get to high school, they're so sick
I
of him.
bet they are, yeah. You guys bleed, the Drews bleed chlorine, not blood.
They know what to expect from their head coach by the time they get in high school.
They should.
No, there's a lot of mutual respect there. The kids respect him, and he respects these kids. They put in a lot of work and a lot of effort and time and commitment to this program, as do the parents. We have amazing parents. I will always put our parents up against anyone else's. The support that they give this program is top notch. At the beginning of the year, we have a team meeting, and we never have problems getting parent volunteers. 200 freestyle relay will be 4 swimmers swimming in each lane, each one of them swimming 2 laps of freestyle. In lane 1 for Connersville, we have Stevie Meyer, Maddie Powell, Katie Cooley, and Avery Webb. In lane 3 for Connersville, we'll have Macy Weiler, Caroline Poe, Carrie Cooley, and Riley Loper. And in lane 5 from Connersville, we'll have Emily Price, Grace McCann, Sarah Kalkoff, and Brooklyn McClung. Caroline Poe going in the water for Connersville in lane 3. Taking the handoff from Macy Weiler. Macy gave us the just ever so slight lead.
Yeah, you talk about the parents. I mean, these kids, they have practice, 6 in the morning?
They do, 3 days a week, 3 mornings a week. They're in the pool. I think they do dry land some mornings and some mornings the pool, but they are at practice at 6 in the morning. And there's an awful lot of parents who are having to bring their kids.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Not all of them are
They start
drivers.
Driving, yeah.
Yeah. Carrie Cooley going in the water in lane 3 in the 3rd position. She's going to have to close that gap a little bit to give Riley a chance to finish off this relay here. A nice little turn for Carrie.
Looks like she's making up a little bit of ground. Getting into about a length.
I don't think Riley's going to probably have enough pool to close the gap on Centerville here. Their 4th swimmer is a strong swimmer as well.
Kelly, you have a diving invitational coming up on December 15th, I believe, here at CHS.
That is, yes. Friday night, we have the CHS Invitational. On Friday night, we do all of the diving, and then on Saturday is the swimming event. So it's a 2-day event, Friday night being all of the diving and Saturday being the swimming event.
Right,
That will be the last event
racing,
prior to the holiday break.
Yeah. How many teams will be coming in, do you hear?
I'm unsure this year. Typically, we have anywhere from 4 to 6, and they're normally
great. Sounds like quite an event.
from this area.
Friday night the 15th and the 16th begins on Saturday morning, I believe, and it should be quite an event for folks to come to.
And again, parent volunteerism. We host this meet every year, and it takes a lot to host a home meet. Unlike some sports, you can look at behind these blocks. We have to have 12 volunteers every night just for the timing. And we take pride in the fact that very, very rarely do we ever have to ask for a volunteer.
That's
You go to
amazing.
other pools and they're begging for volunteers from the stands. We don't ever do that. We may have to go pull a parent who wasn't expecting to time, but we don't ever have to ask for volunteers because our parents just step up and help.
Oh, that's
awesome.
wonderful, yeah. Here's the boys' 200-yard freestyle relay we're getting ready for.
Out of lane 1, we'll have Kyle Downard, Maxwell Crank, Seth Spurlock, and Warren Toole from Connorsville. In lane 3, we'll have Hutton Getz, Justin Kidd, James Smith, and Mason Stevens from Connorsville. Nice start from
Good.
Hutton, got off the box pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
That may be the best we've seen all night.
This is always a fun relay to be on. It's fast-paced, no room for error.
Yeah, down and out.
Fast twitch muscles are firing everywhere. Hutton's opening up a nice little lead there with Justin Kidd going in. 26.8 for a split for Hutton. Nice time. Kyle Downard out of lane 1 getting a 28.99. That's a very nice time for Kyle.
Yeah, open up a bigger lead, about a length and a half right now.
Now Justin's going to be coming into James. Very tight exchange there.
Yeah,
In a relay, the swimmer that's in the water has to have a hand on the wall before the swimmer up above on the block leaves the block. The arms and the body can be stretched out over the water, but the
his-
toes
they
must
have
still
to be
be on the
touched.
block, and that was a pretty tight,
Yeah, I was gonna say that
exchange there.
That looked very close.
And that was an extremely safe one. So
Yeah.
You run the gambit. And
Yeah, that was almost too long right there.
Yeah, and we're getting to the midpoint of the season to where we're trying to kind of set some of the relays so that these swimmers get comfortable with one another.
And they know
because
their
yes, they kind of know their rhythms and they get it down pat where they're extremely comfortable with exchanges. And come sectional time, you have to push the limit.
So there's 2 timers each.
2 timers at the end of each lane, yes.
Comparing
Plus
the time.
plus the computerized
Official.
system, and we go by the computer system. That's the first and foremost. And then the timers are really only there in case the computer system fails. So they're just backup time.
The next event, the girls' 100-yard backstroke.
Out of lane 1, we'll have Carrie Cooley from Connorsville. Lane 2, Kayla Newman from Centerville. Lane 3, Maria Wells from Connorsville. Lane 4, Lane 4, Aubrey Davis from Centerville. Lane 5, Stevie Meyer from Connorsville. And lane 6 from Centerville, Jenna Larson.
Should take about a minute to a minute and a half, depending on
this swimmer.
how it goes.
And this is the only event that the swimmers start in the water. All the other events, they start on the blocks. And you can see that when they start, their feet have to be under the water.
And you have to come up, you have to, underwater, you can only stay underwater for so long.
15 meters, which would actually be, if you can pick up on the lane ropes, the yellow marker on the lane ropes.
Right.
And it's the furthest yellow marker from the wall, not the closest one.
Oh, okay, so
Yes.
yeah, that would,
Yeah.
yeah, I think there was a famous YouTube video of a girl that just stayed underwater the whole time.
And
She won, but she lost.
and several years ago, that was the case. That rule was not in effect, and someone along the line completely figured out that you're faster underwater than you are above the water, so they swam the backstroke underwater.
That's amazing lung capacity to be able to do that.
So they had to put that rule in effect. And there are a lot of kids that will push that limit.
Yeah.
Aubrey Day out of lane 4, coming in strong. She just signed to swim at Anderson University
Very
next
good.
fall.
Is that the same rule for freestyle that you have to be before the yellow?
Every
race?
Every stroke, yep.
You know, one of our girls came in, look here, she was a little bit too far. Her arm went over the wall, can cause a serious injury.
Yeah, and backstroke, that's why the flags, you see the flags at both ends of the pool. Those are called backstroke flags, and that's what they're there for. These backstrokers, they count how many strokes once they get underneath the flags. They count how many strokes that they have into the wall. They have a turn count and they have a finish count because they would be different. Because
right.
On your turn, you roll over onto your stomach, so you're going to take less strokes than what you are at your finish. And you should have that down to a science that you know exactly where that wall is.
Makes sense.
This is the boys' 100-yard backstroke.
In lane 1, looks like Hutton Guts from Connorsville. Lane 2, Evans Sylvia from Centerville. Lane 3, Jonah Hensley from Connorsville. Lane 4, Ben Nevels from Centerville. Lane 5, Kyle Downard from Connorsville. And lane 6, Cameron Salo from Centerville.
I guess taking a little longer than the other races.
Yeah, I think that there was a disqualification in that event. So there's.
Oh, the last girls.
I'm unsure exactly what the disqualification was for.
Is that where there's a mark on lane 1 up there? Is that little silver?
No, normally it would show with a
PQ.
A D.
Oh.
I just think we just didn't get the system didn't read it. You can watch underneath the flags. Each one of these guys will turn over at their own pace, about a stroke shy of being to the wall.
Yeah, and again, this is probably the hardest turn of any of the races, obviously, because you can't see. And if you turn too soon, you get disqualified, correctly?
Correct. Yes, because once you get over onto your stomach, you have to stay in a constant motion. If you get over too soon and you're not moving your arms still,
right,
then you're going to get disqualified.
Spartan
So it is very
leader
technical.
In lanes 1 and 3, the Spartans with Hunter Getz in 1 and Jonah Hensley in 3.
And these guys' times have been very neck and neck all season. Hutton seated with a 113 and Jonah seated with a 111.
It looks like he's going to beat that. Both of them looks like they're going to beat their times. They're going to be very, very close.
That's what wonderful,
yeah,
friendly competition will do for you.
Absolutely, and that's how it should be. Almost a minute and a 10th or 100th.
And
lane 3 the winner, so a Spartan victory in that particular event.
And that race really was won by the finish, the timing of the finish. Jonah had a better timed finish and knew where the wall was and got his hand on the wall quicker than Hutton did. And those are the details, those are the finesse of racing that needs to be cleaned up.
Okay, up next, the girls' 100-yard breaststroke.
And that's something you guys work on.
We do work on it. We work on it on the regular, but you know, sometimes it's just it's completely different once you get in a race.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, that's the type of thing that we have to, when we practice, we tell these kids, you have to be practicing this at race pace.
Right.
Because if you count your strokes at 50%,
right,
and then at a race you're going 100%, your strokes are going to be different.
Right.
And these boys in particular, as they get older and they get bigger and they get stronger, those are the type of things that change dramatically truly from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. If they're doing what's being asked of them in the weight room and in the pool, that's the type of thing that can change.
Yep.
100-yard breaststroke. In lane 1 for Connorsville, we have Caroline Poe. In lane 3 from Connorsville, Audra Volts. And in lane 5 from Connorsville, Brooklyn McClung.
Audra has the lead in lane 3 for Connersville.
Audra's a very strong breaststroker. See the two-hand touch there at
Yeah.
the wall. Then she's allowed one pull out and one kick underwater. And then right back up to the surface and swimming again.
Wow, so obviously you can't go as far underwater.
No, because you're only allowed one pull and one kick in
Wow.
breaststroke. So you're not going to see that super long extension off of a breaststroke turn like you might in the others. Although, again, you get a big,
Yeah.
powerful swimmer, and they can and will push the limit.
And she, she pushes off that wall incredible. And that's what got her the victory.
Breaststroke is a very rhythmic stroke. That is an exceptional time for Audra.
Well, she looked, I mean, again, very easy, very smooth. Didn't seem rushed.
Yeah, she's been swimming very tight the last couple meets. She gets about 50 yards to 75 yards into it, and you can see her stroke has been shortening and tightening up, and she looked very smooth tonight, very comfortable, and it shows it with the time. She's very pleased with that.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, her seed time was 1:15. So
Oh, yeah.
She
Yeah.
did excellent.
Now, would that hurt seed time drop next week, the next race?
Yes, then the next race that she goes into, she will
average?
be seated with a 1:12.91.
Okay.
So it's best time,
Best time.
and it's best time for the season.
Okay.
Audra has been faster than a 1:12 at sectional, but she doesn't get to carry
Carry
that.
that over.
You can, technically you can. A coach can seed his kids with a time from, their best time from the season before, but it doesn't do anyone any good if you're
Right.
carrying that fast of a time,
Right.
but
Here's
you haven't
the
swum it this year.
boys 100-yard breaststroke up next.
In lane 1 from Connersville, we have Seth Spurlock. In lane 3 from Connersville, Peyton Kiefaber. And in lane 5 from Connersville, Warren Toole. In lane 2 from Centerville, we have Matthew Birch. And lane 4 from Centerville, Wyatt Sewell. Peyton's going to open up a wide lead just in that first lap. So he's going to run away with this one.
Yeah, it looks like he's higher out of the water.
He has
He's
big
not.
lead.
You can see if you compare him just to Audra, I say he swims like a little bug on the water because he has a very short, very fast
Right,
stroke.
yeah.
Where Audra's a little more
straight,
length
yeah.
under the water. She gets more distance per stroke.
I mean, he's consistent.
Yes, and Peyton is very strong with his strokes, but he's just more comfortable with that shorter stroke. Again, sometimes it just comes down to personal preference and what are you best at.
Right.
You're going to see lots of different styles in breaststroke. Out of lane 1, we've got Seth Spurlock, Zane's younger brother, and Seth is really coming on strong. He's a first-year swimmer, and breaststroke is a very, very difficult stroke to swim technically, and he swims technically strong. So now it's just getting him a little more comfortable in the water.
Yeah, Fran asked the question earlier, the girl is faster than the boys, and I tell you what, that girl with the 112, she would have because I think she was at 112.97
Yes.
or something, so it was.
That would have been fun to have
that
watched,
would have
right?
been fun to watch, yeah, very much so. Two totally different styles as well.
Yeah. I'm going with probably Peyton would have not. He'd have gone faster than a 112 if
if
he
he was
thought
racing.
he'd have been razzed
Oh,
by
yeah.
his
Yeah,
teammates a little
right.
bit too hard if
Yeah.
Audra would have beat him.
Yeah.
But Audra would have given him a run for,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
for his money, that's for sure.
Next
She's
event.
a racer.
Next to last event is the girls 400-yard freestyle relay.
In lane 1 for Connersville, we have Webb, Carrie Cooley, Katie Cooley, and Poe. Lane 3 for Connersville, we have Loper, Wells, Volts, and Newman. And lane 6 from
It should take a little over 4 minutes for this event.
This could be a really interesting race if Connersville and Centerville both swim to the potential. We could have a neck-and-neck race the entire time. Seed times, 0.1 difference, less than 0.1 difference.
Well, I tell you what, the Connersville girl had a better jump off the block, so it looked like the Centerville girl kind of slipped just a little bit, and that's the difference right now. Is they're
look at the splits right there,
yeah.
29-3 to 29-4.
Well, they're neck and neck, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. You know, again, this is where you need, as you mentioned earlier, focus on your lane when you can control in between the lanes.
And this is where a really good exchange
Will be a big difference.
Big difference. And if you watch, we'll probably see quite a bit of different style in the exchanges. Who gets off the block, who's willing to take a little bit of risk, and who's going to play it safe. Sometimes the risk pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. In the water now for Connersville is Maria Wells.
Looks like Wells has gotten
pulling ahead a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
Yeah, because she started behind.
Oh,
so
looks like
they're
Centerville now. Now you're right. This is completely neck and neck. Both have great turns right there. You mentioned looks like Centerville about a half a body length lead.
She's pulling back away. Maria's fading a little bit. She needs to pick up her feet, get a little bit stronger kick, a little bit more.
Yeah, it looks like she's not consistent in her lane. Like she's getting close to the ropes a little bit, whereas the Centerville girl's staying straight.
And when you go side to side, you end up and swim a little bit longer.
Yep.
Get off the block. Really opened up quite a lead there. Oh, and Audra lost her goggles.
Yep, I saw that right away.
This is going to be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, because I mean, it's going to burn the whole way.
She'll keep swimming though.
Oh yeah, she's not stopping at all, and it looks like she's kind of getting a little bit of a chunk of her way, but.
Really, particularly on freestyle, when you lose your goggles like that, the toughest part is just knowing where the wall is.
Yeah.
Things happen. That's just what you got to do. You just keep swimming. You never know when something like that's going to happen. So.
And did she lose them in the pool, or is it around her neck? I can't tell.
They're probably around her neck. Typically, when you dive in, if you lose them, they go down.
That's what I figured. It looks like that would add more drag.
It does.
Yep, looks like they're around her neck, yeah.
Michael Phelps coached Bob Bowman years ago, right before a big swim, stepped on his goggles purposefully and made him swim without his goggles.
Did he win?
He did.
Of course, he's Michael Phelps.
The point was to make him prepared for anything and swim under any conditions that might be thrown his way.
Greatest swimmer of all time.
Yes.
Do you watch videos of him as technique for the kids? I mean, because he's good at everything. I mean, obviously his strong is the butterfly, but he could do anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of teaching videos out there that you can use. A lot of coaches, college coaches put out their own videos that programs can buy and use for teaching tools. Centerville dropped a ton of time there.
Yeah, they did.
Stepped up and really had a nice race. Connersville dropped a second, a little over a second, so that was a nice swim for them. Even without a leg with goggles.
Yeah. Again, you talk about the drag. Would it have been easier for her to, just rip them off and go, or?
At that point, it probably would have cost her more time to have taken the time to have taken the goggles off.
So.
And in freestyle, because it is freestyle, and you can swim whatever stroke. There really are no rules. The only rule in freestyle is that you make sure that you touch all four walls. Don't touch the bottom of the pool, and don't pull on the lane ropes to advance yourself. In the other events, if you were to lose your goggles, now backstroke you could pull your goggles off, but on butterfly and breaststroke, the only time that you could pair of goggles off, it would be at a wall, because if you tried to do it during your stroke,
Right, yeah,
you would not then be doing the legal stroke,
Sure. Makes sense.
and so you would get disqualified.
Okay, the boys 400-yard freestyle relay will be next. Right now we're waiting for one of the Centerville girls to finish up this event.
You know, and I love how people are still rooting her on. They're and gets a round of applause as if
There
she
she
won.
goes.
That's the epitome, the definition of team or of sportsmanship.
We see a lot
And
of that,
teamwork.
a lot of that in this sport. Everyone has a lot of respect for anyone
Oh,
who's
yeah.
going to get
Yeah.
out there and work that hard.
Yeah, you know, 'cause diving, I noticed diving, you know, you're doing it, everybody's quieted down. Here, you're in spotlight as well.
Kelly, can you give us a lineup for this boys event here?
In lane 1 for Connorsville, we have Spencer Noah, Nick Flug, Kyle Downard, and Justin Kidd. In lane 3 for Connorsville, we'll have Mason Stevens, Peyton Kiefaber, Jonah Hensley, and Zane Spurlock. Mason Stevens is taking the lead-off leg for Connorsville out of lane 3, looking strong. Mason was our 100 freestyle winner earlier in the meet.
It's like it's neck and neck with these guys right here.
26-7 to 26-6 of the difference in the splits.
Yeah, that's what, 7 100ths.
Mason has really, really improved his stroke over the last couple years.
Nice turn. That was a good
Came off
turn.
strong.
Is he a senior, Kelly?
He is a senior.
Is he? Okay.
He transferred from Hagerstown to Connorsville, so
Oh,
we
this
were
is
lucky
gonna
enough
be
to have him
close.
for
Looks like
3 years.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
And Mason just decided in the last week or so that he'll be attending Mississippi State next year on an academic scholarship.
Oh,
So we're
excellent.
very proud of our academic achievements from all of our swimmers. Mason and Peyton Kiefaber, who happens to be in the water in the lead in lane 3, have both excelled in the classroom and have been offered some generous academic opportunities. Peyton and teammate Katie Cooley are both up for the Lilly Scholarship, which should be announced anytime.
You know,
Good.
we talked earlier about these kids coming in, Fran and Kelly, they come in 6 o'clock in the morning, 3 nights a week. Do they have races that night?
Sometimes they do.
And so we're looking at over 12 hours, school, and then they get home and they got to get back up at 6. They got to do homework too.
Yeah, luck has it that our morning practices are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and most of our meets are Tuesday and Thursday. But on a night that we have a home meet, our kids will get in like this evening. They've had a full practice prior to this meet.
So
And yes, then they have to,
Go home and
they're
do homework,
exhausted.
yeah.
They go home and they do homework, and we're very proud of the academic of this team. You know, this team, we also take pride in their volunteerism. You can see tonight's meet being the cancer meet, how much pride we take in the kids giving back to the community. These kids ring the bell for Salvation Army on the regular. They work gleaners. They Amy Kiefaber, Peyton's mother, she is in charge of our volunteerism and our community service, and she does a great job at getting these kids lined up. And there's no complaints. They go out and they serve their community the best they can.
That's awesome.
Great life lessons learned through our swimming program. Doesn't matter what accomplishments they achieve in the pool. We're always proud of their accomplishments outside of the pool. Great kids coming from amazing families.
Yep.
We're extremely fortunate.
And that's all that matters, the raising good, productive citizens.
Absolutely. We may not always have the best team. We may
Right.
not have the fastest swimmers, but you know, it's our job to make better citizens, better fathers, better mothers,
Doesn't matter how good
better
they do.
husbands,
Yeah.
better wives.
That's right. They're terrible human beings. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's one of our goals is, you know, be good protective citizens, and it starts now, not later.
The way race from this race. Good
Nice
time.
strong leg
Yeah.
from senior
good.
Zane Spurlock. 3:44. That's a second faster than their seed time. It's like Justin Kidd out of lane 1 from Connorsville, turning for home.
Yeah, you got to feel good when you win by almost 20 seconds.
Yeah. A victory's a victory, but
Well,
that's
true.
that's
whether
really
it's
sweet.
that's true. Michael Phelps won a gold on hundredths of a second, so
Absolutely.
doesn't matter. A win's a win, but still, got to make you feel good.
Strokes your ego a little, gives you a little
For
extra
sure,
confidence.
yeah. What an event.
Okay, that takes care of the action here tonight. Kelly, I think there's some post-meet events going on.
Yes, this evening is our the cancer meet. This is the third annual between Connorsville and Centerville. The two coaches, being former co-coaches and friends, got together a couple years ago and thought, what can we do for our communities? And so we've kind of made it a bit of a competition to see who could raise the most money.
Yes.
Primarily fundraiser being with all the pink T-shirts that you see from this evening. This is, like I said, the third year in a row, and I think in just 3 short years we've raised over $10,000 combined to give to the Cancer Society. And each team takes pride in doing what they can to offer as much volunteerism and community support as possible.
Yeah, you want your team to raise the most money. Now, doesn't the losing coach get thrown in the pool?
I think that's the bet that they've had for the
Yeah.
last couple years, as losing coach goes in the pool. I'm not quite sure if that's losing by fundraising or losing by
Fundraising.
score or what. I believe it's the fundraising. So
Yeah.
you can see an awful lot of this shade of pink because Daryl says he is not going in the water.
I want to say a couple years ago, wasn't I think one of the Centerville, they lost, and I don't think they went in.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think they ran out quick. So
could be.
hopefully we can see somebody get thrown in the pool today.
Could be.
Okay, we'll be awaiting the final scoring here. It should take maybe a few minutes to get it compiled.
And they have the scores for tonight.
All the team members are meeting here on the east end of the pool.
Wow.
You have the results there, Kelly?
Looks like in the boys' meet, Connorsville scored 117 and Centerville 68. In the girls' meet, Connorsville scored 94 points to Centerville's 92 points.
Wow.
So a double victory here tonight for the host school.
Over the last 3 years, a quick little interesting note, not only have these two schools raised over $10,000 to donate, but we have also sold over 1,400 T-shirts.
That's awesome.
And if you had an opportunity to scan quickly down through the audience, there's an awful lot of pink in both
Yeah.
shades.
Yeah.
A lot of these, I know Connorsville students have sold to their fellow classmates. A lot of the kids have made a point to come to this evening's meet to check it all out.
Yeah, Daryl's right. He's not going in the pool.
What were those figures, Kelly? I didn't.
The total for each team that they had fundraised, Centerville raised a total of $690, and Connorsville, the home team, raised a total of $3,310
Oh, that's great.
Good
That's
job.
wonderful.
for a
Yeah.
total of $4,000 even to donate to the Cancer
That's
Society.
great. That's wonderful. Getting some pictures taken here at the end of the pool.
Down in the front row there are the 4 Connorsville captains: senior Mason Stevens, junior Audra Volts, senior Katie Cooley, and senior Nick Fluke. This is a special treat.
Isn't that the superintendent?
Yeah. Yeah, and he's saying that
Collins,
his
superintendent at CHS.
yeah.
I think he's going in the.
Peyton, senior Peyton, senior Peyton Kiefaber challenged himself and the team and said, asked Scott Collins if he would accept the challenge.
Let's hope he can swim.
Yeah. You know CPR, Fran. You go save him.